Hey guys, this is Super Testnet, and today I just wanted to show off my latest invention, which is Forkalicious. What is Forkalicious? Well, it is a fork visualizer. It lets you visualize possible outcomes of the BIP 110 soft fork if it becomes contentious, and I want to show you guys how it works. So when you load up the page, it creates this little cast of characters here. We've got Alice. She's running a Bitcoin node that ignores the BIP 110 soft fork, which is the software that it seems most people are running today. We've got Bob. He's running a BIP 110 node. He's enforcing the rules of BIP 110. And then we've got Carol, and she's running a node that rejects the BIP 110 soft fork. She's running a user-rejected soft fork. Okay, so then down here we can create the scenario where we pick how much hash rate BIP 110 miners have. So you can go all the way down to 0 if you think they're going to have 0 hash rate, or you can go all the way up to 100 if you think that's what they're going to have. And then, depending on where you put it, there's a little summary that tells you what's going to happen in this scenario. And yeah, so that changes. Like there's like a danger zone between here and here, and then down at the bottom, you can actually view, you can generate blocks and view what happens on the various nodes of these three people. You select which one you want to see, you start generating blocks, and then you can see what happens on their node if that, at that hash rate. So the question is, of course, why did I make this? I made it because I've been asked to present about the soft fork and the potential problems with it. Airplane flying overhead. Okay, airplane's gone. So why did I make this? I've been asked to present about BIP 110 and the things that might happen with that soft fork at an upcoming BitDevs here in the city, and I made this as a visualizer so I can graphically show them what things might happen. All right, so we're gonna start out and we're gonna put it roughly at 50-50. We're gonna assume mining is split 50-50, and so the outcome summary here says that people ignoring the debate, like Alice, this is their danger zone. If you're not running a node and it's about a 50-50 split, if you're not running a node that's aware of the soft fork, and it's about a 50-50 split between miners, you could experience large chain reorgs. Your chain could flip back and forth between pro BIP 110 blocks and anti BIP 110 blocks, and Bitcoin's blockchain could be unreliable during that time. People who are running one of the forks, it's less volatile for them. Their node will reject the other side's blocks, and so they're not really affected by, or their blockchain isn't flipping back and forth all the time. So let's depict this graphically. I'm going to generate a block. This thing assumes that we start out 5 blocks before BIP 110's mandatory signaling period. So the first 5 blocks that I'm going to mine are joined together, like we're not forked yet, so that's why the little status here says not forked. But the way I've set it up, the moment we get into the mandatory signaling period, I have the anti-BIP 110 node start rejecting pro-BIP 110 blocks, and the pro-BIP 110 side starts rejecting anti-BIP 110 blocks. So now they're forked, right? So if we look at Bob's node, his node is the same as Carol's, or as Alice's right now, because they're both following the longest, currently following the longest chain, and it happens to have 6. It happens to have a pro BIP 110 block here. But if we look at Carol's node, she is stuck on the previous block. She doesn't acknowledge this new block that's come out. So that's the situation. Carol, who's rejecting the soft fork, is now forked. If we generate another block, it happens to catch her up, but now there's like a difference. Carol says it's green, or Carol says it's red, and Bob says it's green. Yeah, so they're forked. And if we keep on generating blocks, I can start auto-generating blocks. Then what we can see on here is that, well, the anti-side is winning. Look at that. But there it flipped. You just see that. It flipped to red, flips to green. Alice's node is experiencing lots of chain reorgs, and sometimes in very quick succession, because the miners are equally split on course. Now I'm presenting, middle of presenting, the wind starts blowing. Miners are roughly equally split, and so that's the worst case scenario for Alice. She's experiencing chain reorg after chain reorg on her node. So that's bad for her. Now, it's probably not going to be a 50-50 split. Hopefully, the best case scenario for Alice is one of the extremes. Miners only have 0%. If it's 0%, let's see what that looks like. Or I'm going to auto-generate blocks. if the pro BIP 110 side has 0 hash rate, then all the blocks that come out are anti BIP 110 because they're not signaling for it. I still have the pro BIP 110 side as having 5 blocks. That's because in my implementation here, the pro BIP 110 side doesn't start mandating it until they get into their mandatory signaling period. So that's why there's 5 blocks where they're still united. So that's one way. That's the best case scenario for Alice. If we look at Bob's node on here, Bob is running a pro BIP 110 soft fork. He's not acknowledging any of these anti BIP 110 blocks that are coming out. Of course, Carol, she's running the anti BIP 110 nodes. She's aware of it and she's happy and she's going along with it. That's the best case scenario for Alice, is that it's an extreme that way, or it's an extreme in the other way. If all of the miners signal for BIP 110, let's reset the chain, start generating blocks. They're all of them green, just like this. If we look at Bob's node, he's enforcing the BIP 110 soft fork, so he's happy because all of these blocks are in favor of BIP 110. But Carol is unhappy. Her node is rejecting BIP 110 blocks. In this scenario, they're all BIP 110, and so she gets forked and stays forked. Okay, so those are the three of the scenarios. What if they're 0 hash rate? What if they're equally split? And what if they are around here? And I made little danger zones. The danger zones I've selected begin at 40%, and then they go to 60%, and then like anything between there, Alice is in the danger zone. I made up those numbers. Many people would disagree. They'd probably say, I think many people would say like even 20% of hash rate on BIP 110 side is very dangerous, and up to if it's 80%. You could set these numbers in different places, but I set them to 40, 60. So that's the danger zone where Alice could see a big chain reorgs during a chain split. What's the actual scenario? Well, if the actual amount of hash rate signaling for BIP 110 right now is this, it's completely 0%. I'm not aware of a single miner who's running BIP 110. I'm not aware of a single miner also who's running the user rejected software. Miners aren't running either one. So there's 0% signaling in either direction. They're just mining as normal. I've got a little visualizer here at redblocks.supertestnet.org where you can see this. You can see miner signaling, and as you can see, all the blocks from the current signaling window, which began at this block height, all of those blocks don't signal in favor of BIP 110. By the way, these are called the version bits. These are in a block header. The first 32 bits are used for, some of the first 32 bits are used for signaling which soft forks a miner is enforcing. And this particular bit, it's called bit 4. This is bit 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Bit 4 is the one that we use for signaling for BIP 110. And so if that was a 1, the block would be green. It would be a pro BIP 110 block. But as you can see, there are none. There are no BIP 110 blocks. They're all red, and you can check that. You can check that on the blockchain by looking at the version bits for any block header that comes out. So where were we several years ago? In the time of SegWit, I got this from Wicked Smart Bitcoin. He posted this on Twitter. He made a comparison of BIP 140E1, that was SegWit, its activation window or signaling window. Versus the one for BIP 110, and so as you can see, we're about right here in the in the signaling window period, and SegWit had about 20% of nodes signaling, or of miners rather, signaling in favor of SegWit by this time. We have 0 for BIP 110. The gray is how many blocks have elapsed during the signaling window. Each signaling window is 2016 blocks. So 5 of them have already elapsed completely. We're in the middle of one of them right now, and if there were any people signaling, they would be blue. It would show up as blue blocks. But there have been none, so there are no miners signaling that they're in favor of this. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that and make one note. Carol's node, the user rejected soft fork, there's a little note here that explains what it's doing. It's been simplified. The actual code for running a user rejected soft fork was proposed by Aaron Van Weerdum, and I implemented a proof of concept of it in this GitHub, the user rejected soft fork 110. You can find a link below. And it's a little different from how I made Carol's thing work. In Carol's, in this like simplified version for this demo, Carol starts rejecting BIP110 blocks as soon as they start appearing in that mandatory signaling period. So if I generate, I'm going to put all the hash rate on BIP110 side, and then generate 6 blocks. So already immediately Carol's node forked and didn't recognize that 6th block, whereas Bob and Alice did, because her node starts rejecting it immediately. The real software doesn't do that. It's more forgiving, and it allows even up to over 1,000 blocks in a signaling period to be pro BIP10 before it starts rejecting them. But I didn't want to make the software where you have to wait 1,000 blocks before you see anything happen, because even when I'm auto-generating, it's not that fast. It's not going to go up to 1,000 very quickly. So I made it so that her node starts rejecting them immediately. I think that's fine for a demo. In reality, it would wait till you get somewhere around halfway through the period and then start rejecting them. But for a demo, I think it's fine. It would start eventually rejecting these blocks, and then it would play out just as I'm showing. But it would do it later than I have it doing in the demo, in a real world scenario. And how late it starts doing it kind of depends on how many blocks are signaling, so it's more complicated. Alright, so that's the software. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you guys for watching, and check out Forkalicious. The link is below.